let our guest introduce himself to the show. Karibu.
Thank you, Maria. I'm really happy to be here, and it's quite a pleasure for
You're
me
welcome.
to be here. As Maria said, I'm Peter Kwame Mokio, co-founder and director from Hatua Network.
Thank you very much for being here, Kwame. He has graced us today in this show to talk about his organization, that is the Hatua. So let's get to it, So Kwame, give us a brief description of what Hatua Network is really about.
Thank you again, Maria, for this opportunity. So maybe just to begin, I'd like to state that Hatua is a registered NGO here in Kenya, and our work is actually focused on ending generational poverty by promoting equal access to education among youth who are coming from disadvantaged communities in Mombasa. We have quite a history because it's now 16 years in the making of Hatua, and we started our work way back in 2006 in Likoni. I'm born and raised in Likoni, so that makes perfect sense for us to start in Likoni. So by then I was a student. I was paired with my co-founder, Gabriel Fundila, and we were actually tasked to do a research work, getting to understand how government policies are affecting street vendors and dynamics between Street Vendors Association. But Likoni being home, that was an eye-opener for me because I got to understand, my people deeper and deeper, because we had like 3 months doing interviews, and we had strong connection with those who are kind enough to open up to our questions. The vendors that we had interviewed, we were looking at so many things that affect them, from the economic background, their income, the expenses, like the aspiration and all that. And one thing that came out very clear during our interview that actually, gave birth to a tour was that most of the families that we had interviewed had kids who were supposed to be in school but were not in school. And their biggest fear of these families was that their kids will end up inheriting these small businesses and get trapped in the cycle of poverty, because whatever they're making is, very small for them, to provide all the needs that their family needs. But something also that they had in common was that they all had they were very hopeful that if their kid get access to education, then their life will change. Only if their kid will have a different profession from, what they are doing, then their life will change. And that hope, of knowing that with their education, their life could, change completely is where the idea of, sponsoring kids started. So we started with 7 kids of the families that we were interviewing by then.
Wow.
Just 7. And I can remember one was in secondary, and then 6 were in primary school. So we raised funds through family and friends, and we were able to raise 57,000 Kenya shillings by then. And that was like our first amount of money that we used to, start the organization. We had no idea that we'll be where we are today. We had no background in running an NGO. We had no background in fundraising. But I can say like the biggest push that we had was that burning desire to see change in this family, because they were kind enough, they opened up, to like the deepest part of their life that they couldn't share to anyone, and we felt obligated to act on this information.
This is actually an amazing project that you had, trying to see exactly how the community is living, and all those children who cannot access education, and actually, taking it to yourself to actually want to help them to get a better future for themselves. This is amazing. And this, I don't know, this is actually God-given. It's a God-given talent.
Yeah, as you can say.
Not most people can do this.
Yeah, it is a calling, because by then I was like quite young. I was only like 22 years of age. And
Wow.
my co-founder was, I believe 20 years old. And we took on this responsibility of raising kids that were not ours, but we just believe that, they also deserve a shot at life just like any other person,
That is amazing. And you're saying you started with 7 kids.
Yes.
That is so interesting. And how many kids do you have right now?
So currently we have 879, if I'm not wrong, 879 students in our program.
Wow.
And they're spread, that includes our alumni as well. So we have 193 alumni out of the 879. And then those who are in tertiary at 202, and then we have 69 gap years, those who just completed their Form 4 last year and they're waiting to join universities.
Wow.
And then we also have 365 in secondary schools across the country.
Wow.
And we have 50 who we first pilot for our junior secondary school that joined us last year.
This is amazing, guys. Listeners, mnasikia hii kweli? Someone mtu anajitolea tu anasaidia watoto wenye hawajiwezi from families that cannot help themselves. Hawezi peleka watoto hawa shule. This guy came up with an organization to help these kids. Waende shule, they make something better for their lives. Kwa hivyo usikae hapo nyumbani hopelessly, unakaa hapo, you think that it's over for you. Someone is out here. This is an angel sent by God, literally.
Thank you. Nanichocha sana.
To help these kids. I mean, okay, I've grown up in right here in Mtopanga, and I had so many friends who we were with, in nursery. Tukafika hiyo time kulikuwa na KG. Tukafika KG3, and most of them did not even progress kuingia class 1. Mostly because of financial issues. Families hawawezi afford kuwapeleka shule and all that. Unapata tu wako nyumbani. I still see some of them around, and most of them are shocked to where I actually reached. But it's by God's grace. But for them, they didn't have that opportunity. So I'm very hopeful. We are going to be reaching out to all of them, and very soon it's going to be the entire Kenya, the entire country, with this Hatua organization.
Hopefully,
yes.
And what you're saying is actually common across, most communities in our region here. Like, you can only find a few students, progressing, throughout the education mobility, but a lot of students, will drop out after class 8 because that's where the cost comes in, and most parents cannot provide, that education cost for their kids joining secondary school, and that's where Hatua intervenes.
Okay, moving on. Mr. Kwame.
Yes.
So what are some of the impacts and strategies that Hatua Network has managed to put in place so far?
Okay, so maybe to follow up from the first question, I just have to make it clear that the kind of support that we give is actually scholarship, mentoring, and career guidance to our students. And it's a 10-year investment that we're giving to each of our beneficiaries. So as of now, the kind of impact that we've had is that we have quite a number of students who've completed university, and alumni. And as I'd mentioned earlier, we have 193 alumni. And these are people who are working in different professions across the country. One thing that is amazing about our alumni, we track their records, we track their progress, at the place of work, the socioeconomic changes that they are going through, and the impact that they are also creating in their families and in their community. One thing that is outstanding is that we've come to learn that they are supporting 200 plus students. This could be, their own siblings or neighbors in their community, to access education. These are not Hatua beneficiaries, but the alumni are supporting, separate from their Hatua beneficiaries, an additional 200 people to get into school. So that's clearly an indication that when you invest in one person, then that person can invest in, 2 more, 3 more, or like the ripple effect is endless. And that's what we believed, and that's why, we identified those students and support them, for the 10 years that we invest in them. The other thing is that our alumni, they're working and they're earning 3 times their family income combined. And this is a total transformation from an income that, a family that, barely survived through, one person earning 3 times of the combined family members' income. That's a total transformation, and that's why we see they end up, supporting their siblings, and some of them have even, built homes for their parents, and have expanded their family businesses, because most parents were doing small businesses, and we've seen others that have expanded, businesses of their families, and I remember of one thing that actually stood out, and it really touched me in one of our AGM, where we had given a platform to parents to, just share the experiences, interacting with Hatua and what Hatua has done to them. And one parent she made a very long speech, but something that really stuck with me is that she said she can now see poverty leaving a homestead. Like aliongea Kiswahili, alisema naona maskini ukitoka kwa nyumba yangu, and that really touched me because that is what we've always, like envisioned, taking these families out of poverty by investing in one person, in that family, and it's becoming a reality. The last few years we've been seeing that because now we have alumni who are graduating and they're taking different professions. We have people, in the shipping and logistic industry. We have others that they've started their own law firm. We have one working at the UN. We have our very own entrepreneur here in Mombasa, Kuza Freezer. I'm sure you've seen the Kuza Freezers.
Yes, I have.
The co-founder, Dennis Okanki, went through our program, for 10 years, and he ended up, starting an entrepreneur like that, and, employing many more people and trying to solve challenges that we are facing as a coastal community, in the fishing industry. So we have, hundreds and, of stories to tell about our alumni who are excelling out there.
This is actually amazing. I mean, a big plan, or mostly, let me put it this way, a vision for most organization is seeing the fruits of what you're actually doing. So this is amazing information that mimi nimekuwa nikikunywa hizo juice za kuza, and I didn't even know that the founder actually passed through Hatua Network. As you can see, this is amazing. Guys, listeners back at home, mnasikia haya maneno kweli? This is amazing news. Our very own anatoa watu all the way from poverty. So that you manage to make something for yourself.
And this is just a start, because all those students in our program, they go through an intensive mentoring program that focuses on, 3 elements. While in secondary, we focus on character development because it's their most, I can say it's their, time when they are identifying themselves. And then when they get to, gap year in between secondary and university, we focus more on leadership development, where we train them on topics and then they go train their peers. And along the way, they get to pick up leadership skills. And then when they transit to university, we now pair them with professional mentors, people who are, in the same field that the student is pursuing in school. And it is through our mentoring program that has given us a niche, from any other scholarship program. Because for us, we just don't pay fees. We follow up on you even beyond, classroom. We get to track your performance. We get to make sure that you attend our mentoring program, which is critical for your success. And that's why we see such kind of results. And I'd also like to credit our mentors, because we have an array of mentors, who mentor our students from year 2 of university. And they play a critical role, because they're the ones who introduce our students, to the profession or to the workplaces, get to have a feel of what the profession is about, and introduce them to the network. And we've seen quite a number of our alumni actually getting, referrals for attachment, internship, or jobs through our mentors. So our mentors play a huge role, and our mentoring program is like what, it's the overarching, I can say, program that brings about the success in our alumni.
This is amazing. This is actually very empowering for me. Mr. Kwame, please let us know on some of the challenges and the strategies that your organization has put in place.
Okay, so maybe to talk a little bit about strategies. I'm sure like most organizations do have strategies in place. And for us, what we do, we normally have a 3-year strategy plan for, all our programs, including, development and fundraising. And how we get to achieve our goal is that we break those strategies into, annual goals, and then annual goals break down into quarterly goals, and quarterly goals break them down further to monthly goals. And then for each team member, they can break down to, weekly goals or daily goals. And that's, how we get to track our progress and actually achieve, our objective, because we have a clear pathline of what we are doing, and, a path to follow. The other question you talked about was challenges.
Yes.
Yeah, we as an organization, we also have our own challenges. 16 years down the line, we couldn't have, be where we are without overcoming a couple of challenges. And I can say one challenge that is, always there for us is fundraising. Every year we're adding new students, and as you're growing, there's also need for us to, raise more funds to meet the needs of our beneficiaries. So fundraising is a constant challenge for us. We are always trying to look out for, new donors, new partners who can support our work, be it, in form of funding, financial funding, or like mentors to, mentor our students. We have a growing number of university students every year, and that also calls for us signing up mentors every year. So anyone who feels like, oh, they're looking at how they can support a tour, you don't need to like, the support that we receive is not only financial support, but we also appreciate someone who can sign up to be a mentor and mentor our students throughout their 4 years of high school. 4 years of university. Other challenges that we have or we faced, I can say, is also trying to find EPs. These are employer partners, people who employ our alumni. Because one thing that we do is that after the 10-year investment we have for our students, we also make sure that they transit into the workforce. And to do that, we are trying to partner with employers in Kenya, who can offer entry-level employment for alumni. And we have a team of alumni department that focuses on training and preparing our alumni to take up any opportunities that are out there. And so to bridge that gap, transitioning from school into workforce. And it's quite an uphill task, to find employer partners, to be able to absorb all our alumni that are coming up. So that is something that we are for the task, and we are struggling, or like we are trying to achieve every year, so that we can have a steady pipeline of EPs who are employing our alumni who are graduating every year. I can say the other challenge that we do have is I feel like those are the key things that I can say we do face on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking on partnerships, okay, how have you partnered with have you partnered with some of the organizations? And if so, which ones are they? And do you expect other partnerships in the future?
Yeah, our work couldn't be possible without partnerships, because we believe partnerships are very powerful to fuel our energy or our interventions. And yes, we do have local partners and international partners. Local partners we've worked closely with Base Titanium, though now they are labs donors. We are also working with Pwani Oil. We are working with Mamunji Brothers Foundation. We are working with Imperial Teas. We are working with Close the Gap. We are working with the list is endless. There are quite a number who are supporting our cause. Internationally, we also have foundation and individual donors that are supporting our work. I can say our biggest donor is IF Foundation, IF Foundation. And then we have Siegel Family Foundation that has supported us for the longest time ever. We've recently had Green Leaves Foundation, Jonaron Foundation, and the likes of All Foundation, who has also supported us for quite some time. So we have a very diverse pipeline of income across the globe, but majority of it comes from the US, where we are quite established.
Okay, that's amazing. And maybe one more question before we go for a short break. How do you view the future of Hatua Network?
The future of Hatua Network, it puzzles me at times, because the vision is big, the dream is big. We started in Likoni, as I said, and it's only the last 2 years that we've opened up our application across Mombasa as a whole. So you can see we started in Likoni, and then we had the dream to move into a new sub-county in Mombasa. We moved into Mvita, and then we opened up our application to Kisauni, and the last 2 years we've been able to open up our application across Mombasa, as a whole, like all regions of Mombasa. And as we are providing more services to the community of Mombasa, we also have in mind once we reach like a good capacity of support that we're giving to Mombasa, we definitely need to think about outside Mombasa. And we're looking at expanding across the coastal region, so maybe going to Kwale, Kilifi, Taita, and all those counties along coastal region for a start, and then expand like that going forward. And hopefully across the country, in future.
That is really amazing. And we have Josh. Josh is in the comment section asking, how exactly can I reach out? Kama kuna mtu mwenye anataka ku refer to this Hatua Network. So kindly answer, Josh.
Okay. There are many ways to reach out. Depends on what you're trying to reach out us with or for. So if it's for scholarship opportunities, we're actually in the process of rolling out our application process on Monday, June 19th. That's when we'll be rolling out our application process. And our team will be moving around all public primary schools in Mombasa issuing out application forms. So name them. The farthest iko huko kunaitwaje Baraka Voroni,
watu wa Kazandari pia tutafikiwa.
We'll be there. So and we'll be issuing these application forms to the schools. We'll be talking to the students themselves in class 8, telling them how the process goes, in applying and how they should fill the application form. We might not have enough application form for each class 8 student, but we always encourage all the students who are sitting for class 8 who feel like they can qualify to come and collect the application forms in our offices. We have an office in Likoni, at Likoni Flats, near Social Hall at the Likodepa offices. We also have an office at Mombasa Baptist High School, where we'll be issuing out the application forms. And then in Mvita, we have 6 community libraries that we're working with in schools, where we'll be also issuing the application forms. And these 6 community libraries are in Sacred Heart, Sacred Heart Primary, Makupa Primary, Chuda Primary, we have Ronald Ngala Primary, Mbeheni Primary, and Serani Primary.
Wow.
So they can find those. And then in Nyali and Kisauni, we have a library at Kongoea Secondary School. Just behind there's the chief's office, where there's the office of the MP. We have a community library there, thanks to actually the MP Nyali Mohamed Ali, who built the library for us. Another partnership that we have, and we're running that library, and we'll also be issuing application forms at that library as well. And then our application forms can also be found online on our website. So those are all the channels that you can find application forms. For those who are wishing maybe to join our pool of talent, or join Hatua as an employee or staff, we always advertise, for opportunities on our social media platforms and our website. Recently, we'll be advertising for facilitators who are going to facilitate our mentoring program during the August holiday. So for those young people who are looking out for a short-time employment, you should be vigilant on our social media platform, where we'll be sharing that information as well.
Josh, umesikia hiyo, ushajibiwa.
Yes. And we're also very active in social media, IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all Hatua Network.
So wengia tu social media platform yoyote and just search for Hatua Network. Once you inbox, someone will get right back to you and they will give you the assistance that you need. Niko na Kanini hapa. Kanini anauliza mtafika lini Nairobi jamani? Kanini usikuwe na pressure. Tutakufikia hopefully.
Kwani tunasema inshallah.
Inshallah, by the grace of God, tutakufikia very, very, very soon. And Hatua Network also has some amazing news for you guys this coming week. Nimesikia this coming week mko na amazing news. Hebu tuambie.
Yeah, this Monday we're actually rolling out our application form. So that will be available for, all students who are sitting for their KCP exams this year. They can, access our application form from the point that I've shared with you. And for those who have students sitting for KCP, I have to repeat this again. For those who have students sitting for KCP this year, and they feel they are eligible to, apply and they can qualify for a scholarship, this is the time. All those points that I've mentioned, come collect an application form or print it out from our website, fill it up. And our application is very strict, based on merit and performance. No bias at all, yeah.
Wow. So, VMSK, to all those when you're na shida and they know, maybe if you know about a family or even your own kid mwenye anafanya KCPE, na hana, you cannot even afford to the next step, that is the secondary education, kindly reach out to Hatua Network. Make sure lazima lakini mko credible. Usikuja kutudanganya hapa useme hauna pesa lakini uko nazo.
We actually do understand how challenging it is for parents to take their kids into secondary school and how expensive it is. Because we normally get, like last year we got 2,700 applications, people who had interest to join our program, but we can only do up to 100. So the vetting process or the saving process for us to get to 100, it's quite intense, and we are purely based on merit and performance of the student. So it's very competitive. However, we've tried to get into partnership with the county government. Last year they say that we can recommend those who we feel qualify, but we cannot support to their bursary program, and we did send quite a number, I think 200 plus to that. Plus we also share in our application form. The last page is actually a list of other organizations that are providing scholarship, because we know we are not the only one, and there are so many people looking for these opportunities. So by us sharing a list of organizations that provide scholarship, we're giving this youth an opportunity or a chance to apply for other organizations that are also looking for to support students like them or kids like them. So we wish we could do more, but we can only do what we can with what we have. And because of that, we try and, present all other opportunities to our community members to, take up on those opportunities.
Wow. So as you've heard, all our listeners back at home, you can reach out to Hatua Network through all those social media platforms at Hatua Network. And you can also reach us out through our social media platforms, that is at Blue Radio, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also on TikTok. And you can also reach out to me through my own personal social media handles at Marisela Kimbio, that is on Twitter, on Facebook at Marisela Bell, BELLE, and on Instagram at Marisela_Kimbio. Thank you guys for tuning in. This was an amazing segment with our amazing guest, Peter Kwame, all the way from Hatua Network, and we're bringing you the vibe.
You're listening to Blue Radio, bringing the vibe.